This is Dane at JONAH Guitars. I'm trying this thing on my camera on my forehead, and hopefully I don't make anybody sick along the way. I may or may not use this for the entire video. We'll see what happens. This is a Paisley Strat that I made, gosh, I don't even know, a year ago, maybe a little over that. Couple issues I want to address with it. This was pretty much, not pretty much, this is the first Strat that I've built. And, you know, with the trem and all that kind of stuff. So I hadn't any idea really what goes with the trem. So let me flip it back over. There's a shelf, right here. That shelf is supposed to be 1/4 to 3/16 of an inch thick from the top. And I had no idea, and I left it thicker than that. And so the whammy dealio is not whammying, and you can see, if I even chiseled part of it off right here where the block was a little thicker to help get some movement there. Did not realize that was an issue until I did it. And it wasn't until even a little later on I was reading something and I ran across that. It just needs to be thinned out there. So I'm going to pull this all out of here and tape the back off, since this is already finished, and lower that route there. Then I'll just slap some linseed oil or something on there so it is sealed somewhat. This has the whole 2K finish on it from Prestige, which I really like. I just don't like breathing it. Anyway, it's a whole nother story. That's why I'm on this quest for learning about water-based finishes. So the other thing that I was not happy with, and I've done lots of pig heads and drilled lots of tuner holes, but when you're on a straight line, I'll come over here, I'm not sure. I should back up a little bit. There were a couple things about this template that screwed me up, and this was one of them. The holes, now as far as, you know, from the edge, everything lines up pretty good. This one, you can see a little bit of a rock here. So this one right here is a fuzz off. And if you know anything about drilling wood, then you know that sometimes the bits will wander no matter how hard you try. The other thing is that the spacing between these is not all the same. So I don't have it with me right now. So what I did was I made a metal plate, and I very precisely drilled the holes. So I have, and I used it on a Telecaster conversion neck that I built for a guy, and it worked out perfectly with the original style vintage slotted tuners, which I really like, because you don't have string ends poking out here to nail you. This has got the, I'll flip it over, this has got the open back, open gear. I need to get closer to see if I can read it. I think they're Gotos, but they might not be. These could be the other ones. Shoot, can't remember who they're by. Hipshot. Okay, could see the glare on that one there. Yeah. So anyway, these were by the open back Hipshot tuners, staggered. So if you can see the stagger on those. So those are the couple things I want to fix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the tuners out. I'm going to pull the neck off, pull the tuners out, pull the trem out, and then do that routing, and then plug and re-drill the holes on the peg head. This is my guitar. I built this guitar for me, so it's not like I'm going to be pushing something out the door that's substandard, although it's just very, very minute on there. So anything I do on the peg head will be covered by the tuners, and it will be very solid, so I'm not worried about that. But like I said, it's my guitar. You know, at some point, who knows, somebody might buy it, but it's not going to be an issue. The other thing on this end is I just ordered some slides, the JONAH slides, so I'm going to try those out as well. Got a couple other guitars in the works that I want to put those on. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do, and so I'll go ahead and pull it apart and get set up for stuff, and then just bring you back in for the exciting bits. I'll be back. All right, so I got the guts out, and I didn't bother taking those out. I just taped that trem hole up. But so here's the shelf I was referring to. Oh, tipped the wrong way. And you can see that it's fairly thick there. Measure that. Like I said, it's supposed to be about 1/4 inch, 3/16, somewhere in that range, enough to keep the top supported. But I've got looks like 3/4 of an inch there, almost, anyway. So that's going to be taken out. So all I'm going to do is tape. Like I said, I'm just going to tape around the cavity. That way, let's just need to keep the router base from scratching things up here. It's not super critical how close the pieces of tape are or anything. And, oh. So while I'm doing this, we'll talk about other stuff. Then I'll show you that too. The holes on the peg head here. I just managed to pick it up out of the camera. That was smooth. So anyway, I don't like to plug long grain holes with end grain plugs, for instance. I'm going to double all this up so it's smoother. Anyway, the deal here is these are probably about 3/8 of an inch or 10 mil. I'm not positive where they're at. I'll just stick a drill bit in there to find out for sure. It looks like about 3/8. So what I do is I take a plug cutter rather than use a 3/8 dowel and jam it in there, because the grain on the wood is running this way, so I call that long grain. If you put a dowel in there, the long grain on that's running perpendicular, so you have end grain. I don't like putting screws into end grain. I don't like gluing end grain in and then drilling through it. So I will make long grain plugs out of some other maple that I've got, and then I'll press those in with some glue on them, and then clean all that up, and then re-drill these holes. Like I said, they're not hugely out, but they're out enough that it really ticked me off with the template. That's the first time that's the first time I ever sprung for templates, because I wanted to be extremely accurate rather than just find a buddy with a Strat and trace it. So I didn't even think about measuring the distance between the holes on the template. I just laid the template on the blank and marked it, and they're off. And they're, I said not by much, but they're off considerably, considering that so right here I have a 1/2 inch between the E and the A string. I'm just measuring from the edge of the holes here. And I only have my regular glasses on, but that one is 9/16 of an inch between the holes. So that's an entire 1/16 of an inch. That's pretty big. And when I was putting the tuners on the back is when I realized it, because some of them were really crowded and it was hard to get to the screw to put the screw in, because the knob from the other tuner, the locking knob, was hanging out in the way. So that's when I first realized it, and of course I just wanted to get the thing together and play it, so I didn't fix it at the moment. This one is over 9/16 in between these two, and this one's back at less than 9/16, but more than a half, so we'll call that right in the middle. And then we're back to 9/16. So you can kind of see they're back and forth. So that's why I developed and made the metal hole drilling jig, so that I can drill one and then put the jig on it, put a pin in it, and then tape it down and continue to do that, so that I'm consistent and it's set off the edge, the 1/2 inch that's required. So it should get good even holes. Now, so that's what's going to happen with that. Like I said, I ordered some stencils. It's basically a hollow outline, just black lettering of Jonah. And so probably, since I'm going to be having to sand this down, take this down past the burns and all that, and so I can get that, be able to see it better. All right, let me show you what I got here. So I got several different length cutters. This one is what I'm going to start with, even though it's kind of burnt. That's going to drop me just far enough into the cavity to catch the edge of this lip, which is what I'm going to run the router on. It's just that, use it as a template. I'm not sure how far. I have the new, the Bosch Colt here. I just got for doing little jobs like this when I don't want to get out a big massive router. Gonna drop that down. I'll probably end up having to pull the cutter out and putting it on this yellow cutter here, which is just a fuzz longer than another 1/4 inch. So depending on how far I can get with this one, I may only have to go to the yellow one there, and then it possibly down to the red one. If I have to use the red one or the yellow one, then no longer in your view. If I have to use the yellow one, I will pull the bearings off the red one here. I'm wondering how far I'm going to get with it. If I bury it all the way in the collet, then I only have just the bearing depth and the collar to go. So I'm going to leave it out a bit, but it's not a real long shaft on this thing. So I'm going to get about half of that, maybe a little over half, 2/3 of that shaft into the collet there. Snug that up. That's only going to take about a 1/16 off right there, so go ahead and drop that out a bit. Let's see what we got now. Yeah, we'll start with that. It's about 3/16. Call me superstitious, but I used to work with a guy. It seemed like every time he'd plug something in, it would go flying off the bench because it was on. So I always hold on to stuff when I'm plugging it in just to make sure. It's actually got a nice soft start on it. Ear protection and glasses. Glasses are on, otherwise I couldn't see what I was doing. We'll just do one pass here. I'm not gonna belabor this and have you guys watching through the whole thing here. I do want to find out how this is gonna ride though once I get over here. It's good and solid, nothing in the way. Let's make sure. Okay, here we go. Brand new router. Don't know where my switch is at even. First run here. All right. Thing I should point out as well here, and use this razor blade as a pointer. When you're just routing the back half of this channel, there's nothing on the front half to keep you from running your blade into this thing. So you have to make sure that you just, and it's that 1/2 inch depth cutter is plenty just to go down and come in and then stop. So I just have to make sure I don't get too wild, or I'm going to be cutting stuff I don't want to cut. And last thing I'm going to mention before I just cut you loose for this segment is that since I have switches and knobs and pickups all hanging out on this side, I just threw this t-shirt down to lay it on, kind of even it out on the bench. So I measured it. I have 7/16 there now. So what I'm going to do is just drop this down, use these 1/4 inch pieces of melamine here, or hardboard, excuse me, as gauges. They're a little under 1/4 inch, so actually just dropping it right down there. I'll lock the router in, and then when I take these out, that leaves me a 1/4 inch of depth here of cut. Or it didn't. I don't know what happened. Okay, let me do this again. Should have just gone on down. I don't think I know I'm not bottomed out on my travel. This is a new router to me, so okay, it just went down again. I don't know what was going on. Let's try that. Definitely farther out this time. All right, so there's my 1/4 inch, and so don't know why it's locked. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and route that last little bit and call it good, and it really should leave me a little proud of 3/16 in that cut. And I'm just looking down in the cavity here from the backside where I can sight it just to see, and I can see that I got at least 3/16 left there, so I'm all happy. All right, here we go. I heard a little noise as I was going through there. It must have just been a chip that flew out or something, I thought. I'm glad it doesn't appear that anything's screwed up. Okay. It's always fun routing on an existing body. It's finished, because if you screw up, it's really kind of too late. And looks like I'm a little thinner than that 3/16. No, I could be right there. I'll measure it. Like I said, 1/4 inch to 3/16. And I'm right at 3. Let me cut it, burn a 1/4 on that. Yeah, 3/16. I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the camera or not. If I rotate the body around, you're looking at this edge right here. You can't really tell from that angle. Yeah, so my finger in there, you can see there's that's 3/16 of an inch left there, so that will no longer interfere with my tremolo.